Well, greetings and salutations, good people of the internet. My name is Big Lou and welcome to my workshop. Today's project is a long overdue one. I'm finally going to be replacing this old outfeed table. It's not even really an outfeed table, it's an old Husky worksite table that I picked up at Home Depot, and I have a piece of plywood attached to it. It's not really suitable for doing some of the work that I want to be doing in this shop. So without any further blabbering from me, let's get to it. I have my cut list and my materials list right here, which I will put down in the description below if you would like to follow along and make this with me. So, as with all my projects, we're going to start at the miter saw. Now, seeing as how I don't have an actual miter saw station, I've just got a piece of plywood that I'm going to use for the tabletop as a work surface. So, kind of works out that I'm using the work surface for my work surface until I get a miter saw station built. So, got to do the best with what we got, right? So now that everything's cut to length, I'm going to take these rough 2x4s and 2x6s over to the table saw and just run them through and cut off this rounded edge. It'll make a nice clean surface for them to butt together and for the work surface to sit on top of. You don't have to do this step. I'm just doing it because I think it'll make a cleaner looking product when it's all said and done. So here we go. So cutting the roundovers off of these 2x4s may be a little bit excessive, and yeah, it's a lot of extra work, but man, does that make a nice clean line. I mean, look at that. It's just gonna, I don't know, be aesthetically pleasing when you're putting it together and working in the shop. I don't know. Do you have to do it? No. Is it really cool? Yeah. Plus, you get to play with power tools, so that's something. Now that everything is cut to length and the corners are trimmed off of the 2x6s and the 2x4s, we can actually start putting this thing together. So I'm going to start by assembling the legs. And I've got the 2x6s that are going to join together in a 90-degree angle. I'm going to have them sit flush up top, use a little bit of wood glue, and screw it in. Check it out. Hey guys, while I got your attention, I know you're liking this video, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel out a lot, lets YouTube know that you're liking this video. If you don't like this video, hit that thumbs up and then share this video amongst all of your friends so that they can suffer right along with you. Now let's get back to it. So for the top of the workbench, I'm going to be using just a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. For the lower shelf, however, in the cut list that I have down below, I do have dimensions for another sheet of, or a section of 3/4 inch plywood. But I'm not going to use that because I've got these boards that I had saved for use for another project that kind of went by the wayside, and I've just got to use them up. So it'll serve my purposes just fine. Okay, so when I was putting the lower shelf together, I noticed that some of the joints were having an issue being completely flush with each other. And on the lower shelf, that didn't really matter, but for the upper shelf or the work surface, I need that to be flush so that when I put the actual tabletop or the worktop on it, it will not have any inconsistencies and stuff like that. So I went out and I got these corner clamps from Home Depot. These are made by Bessie, not sponsored. These were about 10 bucks a piece. I got 2 of them so that when I glue the corners or screw the corners together, it'll be nice and flush and perpendicular and square, and it'll make sense when you actually see what I'm talking about. So let's get back to work. All right, so it's moments like this that I really wish that I had a track saw, because setting up a track saw and just making the straight cut right across would be much, much easier than trying to cut it freehand, because my hands are about as steady as a... Well, I'm sure there's an inappropriate reference that I could make here, but you get the idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the distance between the blade and the edge of my saw plate here, and put a straight edge clamped down to the plywood that I'm going to be cutting, and that way I'll be able to run a nice straight line across the edge here and have a nice even straight cut. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm a bonehead, and I forgot to hit record when I ripped the long side there. But here's a reenactment of what it could have looked like. Okay, so now that that's over with, we're ready to put this thing together. I'm going to put the lower shelf up here on the work surface, and now that it's actually cut to size, I'm realizing that working on a full sheet of plywood has a lot of real estate, and this is not as big as I thought it was, but it'll still be perfectly fine for what I need once I get it into place over by the table saw. So anyway, let's get the legs on this thing and see what it looks like. Alright, so now that the top is in place, I'm ready to screw it down, but I'm not going to use the same screws that I used for the frame and the legs. I used these 2.5-inch number 9 construction screws for the frame and the legs and the assembly and stuff like that, but to secure the top to it, I don't need something that beefy, so I'm just going to go with some drywall screws. These are 1 5/8 number 6 drywall screws. All of these you can get at Home Depot, and I'll have the links to all the materials and stuff in the description down below. Let's get this thing put together. I'm going to screw the top down, I'm going to sand it with some 220 sandpaper, and then I'm going to hit the top of it with some paste wax, just so that it's kind of protected and has a nice slippery surface when I'm pushing stuff off the end of the table saw. So, let's do it. Okay, well there it is. It is all done and I could not be more happy with it. It is the perfect size for this table saw that I have, and that is the RIDGID R4512 cast iron table saw. I have a video of me doing an unboxing and a full review of this table saw. If you click right here, it should be in a little bar. I'll also have a link to that down below. The materials for this Workbench Outfeed Table, Assembly Table, whatever you want to call it, cut list and materials list are going to be down in the description below. While you're down there, go ahead, hit that like button because I know you like this video. You've stayed all the way through. Go ahead and hit that subscribe. I've already told you all of this. You know all of this. You know the drill. It's YouTube. You know what to do. Stay motivated. Stay inspired. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.